July 5th, 2025. Off the eastern coast of Somalia, a fleet of 31 high-speed boats carrying 250 well-armed pirates launched a brazen attack on an American supply vessel. The ship, quietly transporting essential materials to a nearby U.S. aircraft carrier, was caught off guard by the pirates' swift and ruthless assault. Armed with rocket launchers and heavy machine guns, the pirates worked in eerie unison, rapidly overwhelming the ship's defenses. In a matter of minutes, they were close to seizing control. But the pirates had made a grave mistake. Just as they neared victory, a deafening roar filled the air as 10 Seahawk helicopters descended from the sky. Each helicopter carried 30 U.S. Navy SEALs, the elite of the elite, armed with advanced weapons and ready for combat. At the same time, 5 FA-18 Super Hornets zoomed in from above, flanked by 20 MQ-25 Stingray drones, all locking onto a single target, the pirates' stronghold. The pirates, who once thought they had the upper hand, now found themselves facing the full force of the United States military. With precision and overwhelming firepower, America wasted no time in sending a clear message. There would be no talks, no mercy, no second chances. When a vessel flying the American flag is attacked, it is not just a crew that retaliates, it is the full might of the U.S. military that responds with unrelenting force. Within moments, the pirates' base of operations was reduced to chaos. The American military moved with unparalleled efficiency, ensuring that no pirate would escape to tell the tale. The operation was swift, decisive, and marked by the unmistakable message: those who challenged the United States would face retribution unlike anything they could have imagined. At 6:12 a.m. on July 5, 2025, a disguised cargo vessel masquerading as a civilian freighter glided quietly through the hazardous waters off the coast of Somalia. The ship, part of a U.S. aircraft carrier's logistical network, was carrying vital supplies, including a potent fuel blend and a secretive compound designed to power F-35 fighter jets and long-range missiles for U.S. warships. A small crew of 10 U.S. sailors manned the ship, tasked with safeguarding this crucial cargo. They were lightly armed, prepared to defend, but unaware of the imminent danger lurking in the distance. Without warning, the ship's alarm blared, signaling a threat. 31 speedboats appeared suddenly on the horizon, cutting through the waves with incredible speed, exceeding 50 knots. The boats resembled a swarm of angry bees, all heading toward the vessel. Each boat was packed with 8 pirates, each armed to the teeth with RPGs, heavy machine guns, and bayonets. Over 240 well-trained attackers, their hardened eyes reflecting years of experience in piracy and combat, charged forward. This wasn't a typical pirate raid. It was an organized, strategic assault, reminiscent of a military operation. As the boats closed in, the pirates split into coordinated groups, surrounding the ship from all sides. Their movements were precise, almost rehearsed, as they prepared to board the vessel. The sailors on board scrambled to respond, their hands shaking as they readied their weapons. But they knew the odds were against them. The pirates had the advantage in both numbers and firepower. The attackers' calm demeanor in the face of danger only reinforced the sense that this wasn't just about a heist. It was a message. A carefully orchestrated attack designed to overwhelm any defense. The skirmish unfolded quickly. The pirates, using their superior speed and numbers, quickly gained control of key positions on the ship. The U.S. sailors fought bravely, but it was clear that the pirates were prepared for a prolonged battle. This wasn't just a raid, it was a calculated strike. The attackers sought more than just the valuable cargo. They were after control, domination, and leverage. Within minutes, the once quiet waters were filled with the sounds of gunfire, shouts, and the desperate calls for help from the ship's crew. The attack had begun. The mercenaries divided into multiple strike squads. One team deployed explosives and heavy artillery to neutralize the defenses, forcing the defenders to retreat into their fortifications. Another squad approached from unexpected angles, using grappling lines to scale the walls and infiltrate. The air was filled with the deafening noise of battle. The defenders retaliated with gunfire from behind reinforced barriers. Several attackers fell, but their numbers were not enough to halt the advance. Within minutes, the facility fell into chaos. 4 defenders were killed, and several others sustained grave injuries. The mercenaries stormed the command center and seized control. The surviving personnel were restrained with ropes and ordered to kneel at gunpoint. However, an unexpected action shifted the odds. Before his capture, the leader of the defenders, a former military officer, managed to trigger a covert alarm. The signal was sent directly to the closest military unit, stationed just a short distance away. The crew of the pirate ship reveled in their success, oblivious to the danger they were about to face. They believed they had captured yet another vulnerable cargo ship, ripe for ransom. Little did they know, hundreds of American fighter jets were soaring through the sky, closing in on them at breakneck speed. As the news reached military command, Rear Admiral Sloan, his face grim, stepped up to the podium and delivered a chilling message. No one seizes a U.S. naval asset and walks away. No one threatens our supply lines without facing repercussions. America will strike back with unmatched force, faster and farther than they could ever imagine. This wasn't going to end in diplomatic talks. This would end with a display of power so intense, it could be seen from space. The pirates were about to learn the true meaning of retaliation. Meanwhile, the vessel they had taken appeared inconspicuous from the outside, a rusted and unremarkable cargo ship drifting in the calm sea. But its significance was anything but ordinary. Beneath the aging steel hull lay one of the most critical assets in the United States Navy's logistical network. Officially called Logistics Vessel 72 Delta, the ship was not just a supply ship. It was a lifeline, carrying highly sensitive materials crucial for ongoing operations in the Arabian Sea. Among its cargo were high-density jet fuel, missile stabilizers, advanced avionics parts, and thermal ignition compounds. To the pirates, it was merely another target for ransom, but to the U.S. military, it was an irreplaceable piece of a larger strategic puzzle. As American warfighters launched their counterattack, the pirates were about to find out just how mistaken they were. Every inch of the vessel was about to be reclaimed, and every move they made would only hasten their downfall. Without this vessel, the fighter jets on board couldn't launch, and its missile systems would be rendered useless. It served as a floating fuel depot, an adaptable weapons platform, and a critical target. One the military never anticipated would fall into enemy hands. The pirates, unaware, had unwittingly captured an essential asset in the U.S. global defense system. If these resources were sold, or even worse, reverse engineered, the impact would extend far beyond the Indian Ocean. In Washington, alarms were blaring. The situation was immediately categorized as a severe national security crisis. Intelligence agencies feared that if the pirates unloaded the cargo, the materials could end up in the hands of enemy states or terrorist organizations, and the clock was ticking. The pirates were now within 10 nautical miles of their hideout, a notorious black market hotspot that had successfully evaded international intervention for years. The seizure of the ship posed an unprecedented challenge. It wasn't just the ship's hardware that was at risk. The classified technologies it carried could shift the balance of power. The U.S. military scrambled to assemble a response. Time was of the essence, but each passing moment brought the pirates closer to their destination, where these highly sought-after materials could be sold for a staggering price on the global black market. The military knew that once the pirates reached their base, it would be nearly impossible to recover the stolen technology. The Pentagon mobilized every available resource, preparing for a high-stakes operation. The urgency of the situation escalated as intelligence gathered, pointed to the real possibility that these pirates had the support of larger, more dangerous networks. If the technology was exploited or distributed, the ramifications would reach well beyond the battlefield. In the midst of this crisis, covert teams were deployed, and naval assets were rerouted to intercept the pirates before they could complete their journey. But with every mile, the window of opportunity narrowed. With the pirates nearing their destination, the United States faced a critical decision: launch an immediate high-risk operation or risk losing a major piece of military infrastructure to unknown hands. Each moment brought them closer to a reality no one could afford to face. The nation's reaction needed to be swift, decisive, and undeniable. Not only to reclaim the stolen vessel, but to make it crystal clear to anyone who would dare threaten its interests. Mess with the country's resources, and you face the full wrath of its might. What you're about to witness is one of the most rapid and pinpoint-focused hostage rescues ever undertaken by the nation's military. At precisely 6:15 a.m., just moments after the pirates took control of the critical supply ship, a covert emergency signal flashed across the USS Resolute's operations panel. The flagship of the strike fleet stationed 128 miles to the southwest. Within half a minute, the alarm was raised. Priority 1, hostile seizure of a critical naval asset. The alert spread across 3 naval vessels and 2 airborne command units in mere seconds. Diplomatic channels were irrelevant. There was no room for negotiation or delay. Admiral William Klein issued the command immediately. Initiate Operation Thunderstrike. We move out now. The military's response was nothing short of precise and lightning fast. Aboard the USS Valor, 10 AH-64 Apache helicopters were prepared for deployment, each carrying 30 highly trained Special Forces soldiers, a total of 300 hand-picked operatives specializing in infiltration and hostage extraction. At the same time, 5 F-22 Raptors were equipped with high-precision guided missiles and 20mm rotary cannons, capable of unleashing devastating firepower. Below deck, in the expansive hangars, 20 MQ-9 Reaper drones were readied for action, outfitted with advanced AI targeting systems and state-of-the-art surveillance technology. These drones were equipped with dual payloads of precision-guided bombs, infrared tracking sensors, and encrypted communication links, transmitting real-time intelligence to the command center. Within minutes of receiving the distress signal, the skies above the Arabian Sea were filled with the sound of engines roaring to life. 3 separate waves of aircraft were launched. The first wave, consisting of the drones, was sent to locate the hijacked vessel and monitor any potential hostile vessels in the area. Meanwhile, the second wave of Raptors flew overhead, creating a wide perimeter and preparing to neutralize any air threats. The third wave of Apache helicopters began their descent, ready to engage in close-quarters combat and execute a tactical extraction if necessary. Each wave of aircraft had a specific mission, designed to work in coordination to secure the hijacked ship and ensure the safety of the hostages. The operation, although risky, was meticulously planned down to every detail. As the mission unfolded, the intensity in the skies over the Indian Ocean heightened. The drones successfully pinpointed the location of the hijacked vessel, while the Raptors established air superiority. With the helicopter teams closing in, the enemy had little time to react before the specially trained operatives initiated their daring rescue mission. The next wave of Seahawk helicopters sliced through the sky, skimming just above the waves and staying out of radar range. Each group was constantly monitored by satellites and E-2D Hawkeye aircraft above, maintaining total air superiority. On the command ship, Admiral Sloan watched intently as the digital map flickered before him. The hijacked freighter was now only 8.2 nautical miles from the pirate stronghold. If it reached the shore, the operation would transition to urban warfare, posing a much higher risk to the hostages. Time was of the essence. There could be no mistakes. This was not merely a rescue mission, it was a declaration. America was about to act with sheer power and pinpoint accuracy. At precisely 7:01 a.m., as the American supply ship drifted into view of the Somali coastline, the sky above shifted dramatically. From the east, a squadron of MQ-25 Stingray drones appeared, their engines muted in complete radio silence. They flew in perfect formation, their sleek silhouettes cutting through the morning air, undetected by enemy radar. These drones, equipped with advanced surveillance equipment, were ready to provide real-time intelligence and ensure the success of the operation. The crew on the carrier braced for the imminent clash, knowing that every second counted. The hijackers, unaware of the impending strike, continued their course towards the shore. As they neared, their movements became more erratic, likely due to the stress of the situation. But their panic was about to escalate. Admiral Sloan's eyes narrowed as he reviewed the final countdown. The drones would provide a clear line of sight, and the helicopters were already in position, ready to strike. The mission was unfolding exactly as planned. With the drones in place and the helicopters prepared to launch, it was time to act. The operation would be swift, precise, and relentless. The enemy would have no chance to respond. In moments, what had seemed like a hostage crisis would transform into a decisive, crushing blow, a message sent across the world that America would not hesitate to act, no matter the cost. They soared just above the ocean, racing across the waves before swiftly forming an attack pattern. The lead aircraft quickly spotted the 4 pirate ships guarding the stolen vessel. In a matter of moments, each one was tagged and locked. The first salvo of fire came next. High-precision bombs fell from the aircraft, hitting their targets with absolute accuracy. The sea exploded in towering jets of water and flames as all 4 pirate ships disintegrated within seconds. At the same instant, 2 fighter jets descended from above, roaring down at the ship. Their guns unleashed a brutal barrage, tearing through the ship's defenses, shredding sandbag barricades, and obliterating pirate positions. Rockets erupted in the air, disintegrating before they could reach their target. Suddenly, 10 stealth helicopters materialized from the horizon, gliding silently just above the water's surface. Ropes unfurled, and elite commandos descended onto the deck in perfect harmony. Within seconds, the entire operation unfolded seamlessly. The ship was surrounded, its defenders overwhelmed, and the mission executed with surgical precision. The criminals stood no chance. From front to back, the American forces advanced with flawless coordination. Room by room, level by level, they secured the vessel. One team breached the command center, taking out 2 assailants before they could even react. Another unit neutralized threats near the boiler room with precision, using stun grenades and controlled bursts. The hostages, injured and restrained, were swiftly located and moved to the central area of the ship. Medics provided care while military personnel established perimeter security. In less than 10 minutes, every attacker was either apprehended, with no American lives lost. However, the operation was far from complete. Through radio transmissions, drone surveillance revealed the pirates' primary stronghold, just a few miles offshore. The heavily fortified location housed armaments, fuel reserves, and radar systems. It had been a hub for illicit trade for years. General Harris acted immediately. Switching objectives, the team made a rapid descent. Within moments, another squadron of fighter jets soared inland. They released precision-guided bombs onto critical targets, dismantling the headquarters in one swift attack. Explosions erupted along the coastline as fuel and ammunition depots ignited, creating massive fireballs. The final strike came from above as a drone released a guided missile onto the central tower. The shockwave was visible for miles around. By 7:29 a.m., the base had been obliterated. Over 500 pirates were confirmed dead, with many more either captured or buried under the wreckage. The message was unmistakable: never hijack a U.S. warship, and never ever threaten an American lifeline at sea. The pirate enclave had stood for years, nestled along the Somali coast and shielded by difficult terrain and widespread corruption. It served as their stronghold, their hub for illicit trade, and their seemingly invulnerable sanctuary. For years it had been untouchable, but by 7:30 a.m. it was reduced to dust. The operation to secure the supply vessel was successful, and the Navy unleashed its full force on the pirate stronghold. Real-time drone surveillance provided live feed, pinpointing exact coordinates, which were relayed to a secondary strike team circling overhead. First came the FA-18 Super Hornets, flying in tight formation. At an altitude of 500 feet, they launched precision-guided JDAMs, which impacted with deadly accuracy. The command center erupted into chaos, disintegrating upon impact, with walls collapsing and communication towers falling in flames. Then, MQ-9 Reapers entered the scene, their weapons primed and thermal optics scanning the ground. Each drone carried Hellfire missiles aimed at underground bunkers and hidden supply depots. A direct hit on one of the weapons caches caused a catastrophic chain reaction, with secondary explosions raging across half of the base. The pirates, scrambling in vain to retaliate, found themselves hopelessly outmatched. Their air defenses, rudimentary and outdated, couldn't lock onto a single fighter or drone before they were overwhelmed. The skies above the compound were filled with the thunderous roar of engines as the strike team continued its relentless assault. Every move was coordinated with flawless precision, leaving no room for the pirates to regroup. As explosions rang out in all directions, the last remnants of the pirate base were obliterated. By the time the smoke cleared, there was nothing left but scorched earth. The pirates' efforts to defend themselves had been futile against the sheer technological superiority of the Navy's air power. The operation was over almost before it had begun, and the base that had once been a hub of piracy was now reduced to rubble. The night was quiet, broken only by the hum of approaching aircraft. From 2 V-22 Ospreys, a squad of elite soldiers descended onto the battlefield, swiftly securing the perimeter and moving through the chaos with precision. Equipped with advanced night vision and satellite intelligence, they methodically hunted down scattered enemy forces, hiding in the wreckage of the once dominant fortress. There were no negotiations, no mercy. Within 30 minutes, over 600 insurgents were eliminated. The few who survived, those unable to flee, were captured, bound, blindfolded, and loaded onto transport for immediate interrogation. By the time the sun rose, what was once a symbol of defiance had been obliterated, reduced to smoldering debris and shattered remnants. The world watched as the once proud stronghold crumbled into nothingness, leaving only a haunting reminder in its wake. The message was clear. Anyone daring to challenge the might of the United States would cease to exist. This mission was not just a tactical strike, but a forceful declaration. In a time where irregular conflicts, maritime piracy, and covert operations dominate global security, the significance of logistics was clearly demonstrated by the U.S. Navy. Often underestimated, a simple resupply vessel became the vital hub of a massive carrier group's offensive power. When that key asset was threatened, America swiftly took action. Utilizing a full range of modern military tools from surveillance and air superiority to special operations and precision strikes, the U.S. showcased its resolve. The pirates had believed they could strike swiftly, retreat to shore, and bargain from a position of intimidation. Instead, they soon discovered the harsh reality of challenging a global superpower. For U.S. defense strategists, this served as a reminder of the importance of preparedness. The world's seas remain contested spaces, and America's military strength is inextricably tied to its ability to safeguard the critical supply lines that sustain it. This was not just a localized operation concerning Somalia. It carried a broader message. It was a warning to any potential adversary: attack a single U.S. asset, and you face the might of an entire nation. The rescue operation of the U.S. supply vessel marked a pivotal moment, underscoring not just military dominance but a bold declaration to the world. It was a reminder that the United States will not stand idly by when its interests are threatened, whether on land, sea, or in the air. What began as an unprovoked attack by over 200 armed bandits ended with their complete defeat, the destruction of their stronghold, and the secure return of all American personnel. This mission went beyond a simple tactical success. It communicated a message of unyielding resolve. America's military power is not solely reliant on its formidable arsenal of warships or aircraft. It is found in its swift and unrelenting response to any aggression. The United States demonstrated the strength of its operational network, which stretches from naval vessels to remote bases, ensuring the safety of its forces worldwide. The nation's ability to react with precision and determination is unmatched, guaranteeing that no adversary, no matter how remote, can escape the reach of its might. For those who seek to challenge the U.S., this operation left a stark reminder. No matter how far the ocean stretches, no place is beyond reach when it comes to defending American interests. And for its citizens, the message was clear. The flag may fly across distant lands, but it is never alone. The United States will always stand vigilant, protecting its values and its people with unwavering resolve. In every corner of the globe, from the vastest oceans to the highest mountains, America's message is unmistakable. Strength, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to its people ensure that no threat goes unchallenged. To any who would question the United States' resolve, this operation served as an undeniable answer: bold, decisive, and resolute. If you support our forces and have faith in the power of America, be sure to subscribe and spread the word about this story.